Welcome back to my Slay the Spire run. Now we're just starting Act 2. I'm not a big fan of any of these three relics, but I do pick the lizard tail just because it's an extra life. I probably could have gone with the white beast as well. For my Act 2 route choices, my priorities are finding as many campfires as I can, then events, because there are quite a lot of very beneficial events in this act, then merchants, especially nearer the end of the run, and then elites and then normal enemies. Act 2 introduces enemies that have the artifact buff. Artifact removes or negates one debuff. This is a real problem for poison-based decks, because poison counts as a debuff. However, with our Shiv-based deck, I can just power through it by constantly trying to apply weak as often as I can. I promise that I'm already trying to play faster than I did last time. It's just that this is a very slow deck and I play relatively slowly, so that's what fast forward was made for. This was a very easy pickup here. More Shivs is the heart and soul of our deck. Since this deck is built around attacking frequently, getting the relic that gives me +1 strength is a really good pickup. Here I go for prepared, because cards that allow me to draw more cards makes it more likely that I'm going to draw what I want. It's really considerate of them to only steal my money from me after I've already gone shopping. Toxic Egg is a great pickup for us because we'll be getting a lot of skills. Upgraded Adrenaline pays for itself and then some because of the extra energy that it generates. On the other hand, what I could really use more of is offense, so I ultimately go with Blade Dance. I'm already generating quite a lot of block every turn, and I would much rather get more Shivs. And let's just fast forward over my least favorite enemy in all Act 2. I probably should have focused first on the one in the back that has the lowest HP, but it all works out. Cloak and Dagger Plus was a very lucky pickup for this deck. Just an upgrade of a card that I want in there anyway. The Aura Halcom can be nice if that turn I just somehow don't draw any block generating cards at all, but honestly I find it most useful early on. At this point we're kind of halfway through the run, we're halfway through Act 2, it's not the greatest relic, I feel. Really, all of these cards are great, but I go with Leg Sweep because it just generates so much block, plus it applies weak for multiple turns. The other interesting thing to note about Act 2 is that it tends to be sort of the proving ground for my runs. Basically, even if my deck isn't the best, most well-assembled deck, I can probably muddle through Act 1, but if I don't have a strong core in place by the time I start Act 2, that's where that run will end. If I can make it through to the end of Act 2, then I know I stand a pretty good chance of actually having a successful run overall. For example, if I've overly prioritized offense over defense or vice versa, Act 2 is when that's really going to show. Card removal events are pretty much uniformly excellent. Lets me truck on with my goal of trying to get rid of all of the strikes in my deck to make way for more Shivs. You can really see this deck starting to come into its own with the upgraded Blade Dancers, the upgraded Cloak and Daggers generating, 3 to 5 Shivs per turn, and with that accuracy they're hitting for 10 each, and that's a lot of damage. So here I picked Flying Knee just for the extra energy. The little bit of extra damage also doesn't hurt. It took me a little while because I wanted to consider what kinds of cards I had and how much damage I was putting out, but extra energy is nice. It helps that this isn't a particularly energy intensive deck. For my next upgrade, I'm just going with Blade Dance. And now it's time for the boss of Act 2. So the champion can be quite nasty. It's a little bit of a race, but I think of the two Act 2 bosses, I think the champion's the easier one. We just have to focus on drawing cards, trying to make sure that I draw those Blade Dancers and Cloaks and Daggers, and keep stabbing him until he goes down. I feel the only thing to really look out for is that about halfway through, he'll kind of do this big purge, where it purges all debuffs and gives him a lot more strength. That's more of a problem with poison builds. If you can't build up enough poison to kill him outright before he gets to that stage, once he purges, you have to hope that you have enough cards in your hand or cards in your deck to reapply all that poison damage. The other thing that I'm trying to ensure is that he's constantly under the effect of weakness. That way I can keep on top of the damage that he's generating and at least block some, if not outright all of the damage he's doing to me. Honestly, I regret not going for 1000 cuts because, well, you'll see what happens with the card I choose in the next act. Alright, that's it for today, and we'll see how we go in Act 3.